Hey everyone, I've returned. So let's just get right to the diet update really quickly. I weighed myself this morning, and I went from the 159 yesterday to the 156.5 today. I can only assume that most of the weight I carried from my binge of sugary sweets, sushis, and pizza probably was all water weight. But now it would appear I have flushed all that from my system, so I'm very grateful for that. Next, let's go over what we ate today. So, I honestly didn't really eat a whole lot. I had 2 eggs, 1 smash burger patty with garlic seasoning, salt, pepper, and provolone on it, and 4 thin slices of hickory smoked bacon. After that, I ate 4 keto-friendly Chalk Zero peanut butter cups that I received in the mail, sweetened with monk fruit, which, hey, scratches that Halloween itch since I want to stay on my diet and remain faithful, but still want to enjoy the candy aspect of the holiday. So why not get a candy that is healthy? So that's what I did. I also had 2 cups of coffee and a cup of tea with monk fruit sweetener with allulose, pumpkin spice, and half, and black tea, hot water. That's steeped with the black tea. And that's pretty much what I ate. Any exercise? Yes, I did do some exercises today. In the afternoon at around 5 o'clock, I did 20-minute spotty stretch session, and then another 5-minute pre-run stretch session. Because I know if you don't stretch your body before you run, you're going to pull muscles, and you're not exactly going to have a good time by the end of your run, because you'll be aching, and I didn't want that. So I did that, and then went on a non-stop 15-minute jog, and then a 5-minute break where I had to drink a lot of water because I was really hot and really sweaty and really parched from my run. And then afterwards, I went on a attempted second 15-minute jog, but I was so out of it from the first one that I just did some intermittent running instead, where I listened to some music, and right when the exciting parts of the music came up, I would run really fast for like a good 30 seconds to a minute and then stop. And I did that for like 20-30 minutes instead of 15, so I could kind of get an even spread out of my HIIT exercises in. And that would have to do it for the diet update. Now we can get started on the daily update. So it was a really strange morning for me, because as I was sleeping, I kept on waking up super early in the morning because I had anxiety that I needed to go to work today, but in reality, I had to keep on reminding myself that I go to work the next day. Now, why this happened? I did listen to some binaural beats before going to sleep, and these binaural beats were designed to make you have more lucid state of mind, but weirdly enough, it made me feel anxious about needing to go to work today, even though I didn't have work today, which is very strange. And then the other half of, from what I remember sleeping, had something to do with me experiencing the Galaxy XR device on and off at my house that I live at. It was a very interesting experience. I just remember I was walking around the neighborhood with the device on my face and just looking around, and then going in the house and looking around with the device on. I didn't even have any apps or anything on the device. I was just had the device on my face looking around with it, and I knew I had it on my face because I looked in the mirror and I saw the device on. It was a really bizarre dream. And anytime I woke up, I just wanted to go back to sleep again. Eventually, I did wake up, and the weird thing was, I find when I go to bed early, last night, I went to bed at 12:40, which, isn't really early to a lot of people, but to me, I normally stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning. But when I wake up at 11:30, that's really strange to me, because I went to bed at 12:40, and normally I wake up 8 hours after going to sleep. But I know this because I always check the time when I wake up every morning, and I keep note of when I went to sleep last night. So the fact that I basically stayed in bed for 3.5 extra hours was really bizarre to me. I'm not exactly sure why that happened. but it did. Now, when I got up, I felt the need to be a bit more mindful about how I spent my morning, but I didn't know exactly how to achieve that. I thought to myself, well, maybe I could write in my journal. So I got my journal out and I went into the den and I was trying to think of something to write. In the den, it was getting a little warm. This has been a really warm October for the past 2 days. Not exactly sure why. I was sitting there in the couch and I was just trying to think of stuff to write, and I was just staring into dead space while thinking about it. And eventually I just came up with the conclusion to write about what I was grateful for. I wrote about, and why, of course. So I wrote about my cats and I wrote about my family. Then my sister woke up and she stepped through the door and I greeted her. And yeah, I pretty much decided to tune in to a new Area 52 podcast where the host of the YouTube channel was interviewing a man who had claimed to have had a horrific encounter with an alien woman, and then she left some hair that he has decided to get DNA tested. So I thought, that's crazy. You know, if that's true that they could do some DNA tests, like finally, some physical proof of some unknown beings, but in all fairness, it could totally just be like someone who broke in his house and then, did what they did and then left. I mean, really, the only difference is one's from space and one's on Earth, But either way, it would be interesting to get more answers on that. I was listening to it for a little bit of a while before eventually I felt the need to make food because I was getting hungry. So I made 2 eggs, 1 smash burger, well seasoned with garlic, salt, and pepper, 4 thin slices of bacon, and provolone cheese on the smash burger. It was pretty good, very protein-fueled morning or afternoon at that point. Then I felt a strong need to go into my room and then try to get my Samsung SSD working, because when I first bought that SSD and connected it to my phone, it would immediately work. But then recently, when my phone was having a lot of family photos and pictures fill it up, I was like, oh, I'm running out of space. I need more space to record like videos or do projects or things like that. So I had to troubleshoot and go through different steps on what exactly to do to get access to the SSD on my phone again. And eventually I finally found out that there's like an app you can get on your phone, and then once you get the app, you can select the options and select to allow the device to connect, and then it did it. And it took me 2 hours to figure that out, which was ridiculous. My mind felt like it was frying throughout the whole experience. But I did figure it out, and I was able to move quite a sizable amount of data, 100 gigabytes, from my phone to the SSD, portable SSD. It was really hot after the whole experience, when I safely unmounted the device and then unplugged it. It was really warm. But the cool thing about it is when I plugged it into my computer, I instantly had access to every photo. Normally when I connect something like an external hard drive or a USB thumbstick, it takes forever for the photos or videos to open. But because it's an SSD, you get immediate access to the photos and videos, so that's pretty cool. Well, when I was done figuring that out, I felt like I needed to do a little bit of meditation. So I decided to open a new Breath with Sandy video, and I followed along as best as I could. This one was interesting in terms of its name. It was titled Enter the Ninth Dimension. Now, would I say I entered the ninth dimension from doing this breathwork exercise? I don't know, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I would say that I felt quite relaxed and in tune with how my body felt, I guess. But in terms of seeing any visuals or something really vivid, no, not really. I mean, just darkness behind my closed eyes. I have seen things from my breath work as I'm doing it, but that's only if I get really into it, and if it's a specific style of breath work. But this one in particular just made me feel more relaxed. Now, after I was done doing it, I felt a sudden urge to create a little to-do list to do today, because it was like 5 or 6 in the afternoon, and I kind of felt guilty that I hadn't really done anything that one would deem super productive. I mostly just woken up, written in my journal, did my SSD transfer thing, and listened to an alien podcast and made food. Now that I'm listening, it was pretty productive. I don't know why I'm being so hard on myself. Really weird. But I felt like I hadn't done anything that really was like meaningful to me in a way where I was like, yeah, putting something out in the world that feels real and feels like I'm contributing in a way that means something to me. So I decided to create a little checklist of things, and I wrote it down. I wanted to fold and put away my clothes. I wanted to do a full body stretch, 30 minutes of running, 1 hour of my Brain Jam YouTube channel editing, then 1 hour of trying to teach myself more advanced editing techniques, and then finally 1 hour of self-taught drawing. And I even went through the effort of taking all 6 duties and splitting them equally into a 100%, dividing like 100 by 6, and then taking that and putting it in like this little cup right here. If you can see that. I don't know if you can, but... And I thought, I've never done that before, where it's like I'm filling my cup with a future juice that I can drink and feel satisfied by. It sounds kind of weird when I'm saying that out loud, but that's how I saw it. And I don't know, I feel like it's more satisfying filling out something that looks more visual rather than doing a checklist. Checklist just feels so generic and visually uninteresting to me, but like filling the little cup little by little, like you're, making a cake and you need a certain amount of liquid ingredient to make the cake right. I don't know, it feeds into my visual learning nature and my love of baking and cooking too. So I did that, and I think it did a great job illustrating exactly what I need to do, how much I need to do, and how long it would, well, not how long it would take, but, that was another thing. Normally when I do these goal setting duties, I normally say, I want this to be done exactly at this time, at this place. But this one, I guess the most I did was say 30 minutes of running, 1 hour of Brain Jam, 1 hour of editing school, 1 hour self-taught drawing. So there's still a time aspect there, but now it feels more open because I didn't put a set time. Instead, I decided which duty I should do in the list. So I thought I would do stretching and then running first. So I did that. And I felt really good. Although I didn't constantly jog the entire time. I did for the first 15 minutes. Then when I came back and felt super exhausted in hot water and came back to finish the mission, I was so out of it that I just decided to spend an additional 15 minutes on top of the 15 extra minutes, already set, to do bursts of running while listening to music and then just walking for extended periods of time. So, hey, at least I got some running in. But probably would have been better to keep up a consistent pace. After I was done with that, I folded and put away my clothes. The last thing that I decided to do was 1 hour of Brain Jam. I didn't do 1 hour of editing school, self-taught, and 1 hour of self-taught drawing. Instead, my mom wanted me to go watch a Conan Must Go episode with her, and I was like, well, I haven't really spent time with my mom today, so I guess I'll do that. So that's what I did. Before we got started on the episode, I made us a cup of tea with monk fruit allulose, half and half, and black tea with pumpkin spice in there. It was very good. I even gave us our peanut butter cups that came in the mail today from Amazon. We finished watching this documentary that my mom was into about a woman who was like a famous actor back in like the 40s to the 1970s. I forget her name. I think like Mary Tyler something. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. basically a short mini doc about their life. She was already well into it by the time I was making the tea and bringing out the chocolates, so I wasn't able to fully absorb the story, but I was able to get a decent idea of what it was like. Well, then afterwards, we decided to watch the Conan Must Go. So we checked that out, and I would say that when it comes to Conan's material, I feel like he's definitely the kind of guy where you're either going to think he's very funny or you're going to think he's extremely obnoxious and unfunny. In my experience from watching these episodes so far, I'd say it's like a bit of both for me personally. Like, some parts I think are quite funny, like, for example, when Conan is meeting a fan from Thailand's mom, and, like, the mom is, like, slapping his face as he's trying to do push-ups. I think that's quite funny. And, yeah, that, or when he's, like, on a Thailand TV show that is super hyper-edited, and, like, he's being, asked to sing a song he doesn't know the language of, and then some lady walks up and starts dancing around him. And he's like, I'm super confused and I don't know where I am. Like, I think that's pretty funny. But then there's other scenes where I'm like, going a little too far, in my opinion. Like, there's a scene where it's just probably 3 minutes straight of him, like, with a chicken hat on and, like, or a bird hat, and, like, a little rubber chicken that he keeps on squeaking and going, and he does that for, like, 3 minutes. And it was kind of funny for the first 30 seconds, but then after a while it just started to drag on and on and on, and like at that point I was like, okay, this is getting annoying. And then another one where he's like, a man who wears this very fancy clothes, like he got customly made sewn clothes from some Thailand women who were seamstresses, and that's another one that just went on and on and on, where he was like just saying, a man who refers to him as a man. And that's one of those where I'm sure like someone out there probably thinks that's funny. I'm not one of those people. I thought, okay, this is going on a little too long. But yeah, but then you get some funny stuff, like where he's trying to climb, and like he gets super exhausted and he has like a woman like lower him and he wants a blanket, or like another scene where like he's talking about like, you only want me to rock climb because you want to see me fail, and then the lady says, yeah, pretty much. That was pretty funny. Like, yeah, I guess that's the appeal of the show. You never know what you're gonna get. Like, sometimes you get something that's actually pretty hilarious, and then other times you're like, boy, this is too dumb even for me. But yeah, one more thing that I did like was like a really silly sequence where it was like fighting like a Taiwan kickboxer, and they were having this whole bit where like they had first person view of like him like kicking him, but they had like prosthetic like legs that they used, and they were having like the Thailand kickboxer and then his buddies like all knocked out in a row by his like kick they did. It's one of those things where it's really stupid, but at the same time, it's my kind of surrealist humor that I really enjoy. So yeah, again, it's a mixed bag. Like, sometimes I think it's funny, and then other times I just think it's going on too long, or it's not funny or not working. But yeah, overall I am glad that he does try a lot and he does different things, and he doesn't like settle for like just one style of humor. He always tries every style he could think of, and it's something to appreciate about Conan. My mom seems to enjoy the show. She like, when she sees something that makes her laugh really hard, she really laughs. She thinks it's hilarious. Yeah. All right, well, after watching that, I wanted to go to my room and record my latest update video. So I said goodnight to my mom, and now I'm here. Overall, what am I most grateful for today? I'm grateful that I got the SSD problem fixed, finally. I'm grateful that I spent 1 hour on my Brain Jam extra editing session, and I'm grateful that I got a lot of exercise in. I'm also grateful that I ate very little carbs today, really sticking with the diet and trying to push the rest of my excess weight out. Yeah, so lots to be happy about, lots I'm proud about myself about when it comes to really trying to conquer shortcomings or things that like get me to go, oh man, I need to finish that, you know, and so that's cool. I like that. Well, I think I've gone on long enough. I'm going to quickly edit this using InShot's AI edit feature, and then I'm going to get ready and go to bed. Tomorrow I go to work from 1 to 10, so I will have a long morning before going back to work. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Good night, everybody, and take care.